Hey guys, my name is Ashley. I am a Reiki master, an astrologer, a massage therapist, and this is the Astrology Indigo. Welcome to my channel. I would really appreciate if you hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Hey guys, my name is Ashley and this is the Astrology Indigo. Today I am here to bring you the weekly astrological forecast from March 25th through the 31st. This is Eclipse Activation Week. It would be a pleasure if you would invite me to deliver you this forecast for this week. On Monday, March 25th, we have the solar eclipse. Actually, it's a lunar eclipse. And it's a full moon eclipse and the sign of Libra. That means that the sun is in Aries and exactly opposite to that is the moon in a full moon position in Libra. And so that moon is basically being controlled by where Venus is sitting in the sky. Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces right now and is conjunct Saturn and making a sextile to Jupiter and Uranus. And so that energy is fueling this eclipse, and it's also got Chiron and Mercury involved in it a little bit, but also the South Node because it is an eclipse. And so this eclipse, because it's Venus, it rules things that have to do with Venus, which is love, marriage, relationships. And because it's involved with the South Node, it has to do with things from the past. And that could be relationships, things that have to do with money. And because Venus is in the sign of Pisces and Saturn is there too, it's asking us to bring in and set firm boundaries in our life and let go of where we have been a slave or giving too much of ourselves, because when the moon is in Libra, it is about balancing relationships and balancing emotions. And so there is a need for a balance. And because this eclipse is also fueled by a trine from Pluto, it involves a form of a transformation that comes from this energy. And so it's very interesting. It's full moon. It's a culmination point. So we're going to be feeling charged up. We can feel this form of intensity that comes with the full moon. And because it's an eclipse, we're going to be able to see the themes that this eclipse involves within the first, well, 5 days ago and until 5 days after, but you can see them up to 6 weeks before and 6 weeks after. We do have another eclipse coming up in 2 weeks, and that'll be the new moon eclipse in Aries, and that's just a little bit of a different energy than this one. They both involve Chiron, which have to do with wounds from our childhood and letting go, coming into a realization to what they are, communicating about them and letting them go. And it's also about looking at our relationships, friendships, anything like that where we've been giving more of ourselves and not being appreciated and not having boundaries or having firm boundaries, because Pisces is blurred lines and Saturn, since where can we stop doing whatever it is that it could be that's destructive to us and where we're giving too much of ourselves, and pull that in. And if it has to do with money, then it could also be about where can you bring in and put more structure to money, or how you choose to move forward with your money or property in the future. And so that's Monday's astrology. And the other thing is, I made a couple notes based on the fixed star that this eclipse is coming into contact with. And the fixed star is Zariah, and I have the notes for it here somewhere. She is here. Okay, so the fixed star Zariah is the adulteress or the harlot. And so where are you so when we have an eclipse that hits this fixed star and it's got nice angles to it, this eclipse also has the energy of like just in time, finding out something just in time, being able to fix something just in time, and being able to confidently discuss your boundaries or where you need to be able to set new boundaries in order to move forward. And like I've got a couple notes here. It says the eclipse trines Pluto, transformation, releasing subconscious beliefs and fears. So fears from the past, fears from certain, like the eclipse involves Libra. It brings back relationships sometimes from the past or from your past life that can be karmic, about letting something go. And it's also about our mental health too, and our mental and subconscious thoughts and fears that limit us, because this eclipse is trying to set us free from something. It's trying to heal something from our past, from our childhood, that maybe opened up wounds from our childhood, to release that and let go so that we can move forward, so that we can go into this forward moving direction of the North Node, where it's asking us, where have we not been giving enough for ourselves? How have we not been, because this eclipse is about our relationships and how can we bring balance about within our relationships. And then the next eclipse is about where can we move forward with ourselves, but also this eclipse is also asking us, where is it that we can redeem ourselves in situations in which we have been giving too much of ourselves? Where can we bring back that redemption? And I've also got a couple more notes here as well to add to this eclipse. It says here that South Node excretes and it removes something, which we talked about. Eclipses are ruled by Venus. It's conjunct Saturn. And it's releasing ignorance and opening our eyes to something, to the truth, where we have not been seeing, or where in Pisces, it's like just blurred lines. We have not been seeing the truth of a situation. We have been wearing rose-colored glasses, and now it's time to say, this is where I see this illumination comes through. And sometimes full moons can bring some kind of crisis of some form, some kind of trigger that helps catalyze this situation to be and release itself and heal itself the way it needs to. So basically, where are you underappreciated? Where are you undervalued? And where can you redeem yourself in these areas? I'm also going to do a Reiki healing session for this specific moon and fixed star. Now back to Tuesday. So on Tuesday, we still have the moon in the sign of Libra, and it's going to be opposing the North Node, opposing Chiron, and opposing Mercury. And this is that communication that I talked about. Even though we can still feel that charge from the full moon, relationships, money, things, or certain things, something can feel unstable or unsure about it, but that's okay, because it's an eclipse. And we just need to see and take a moment to think about and communicate where we're going with a Libran emotion, which is seeing things from both sides and weighing them out and seeing what you can let go of so that the scales can rebalance, and so that healing can come from the North Node and Chiron, so that you can move into that direction that better serves you, me, and we, because the eclipses are in the me-we dynamic of the zodiac, and so you can't have a me-we dynamic without the me and without the we. So it's about rebalancing, taking a detached approach from your decisions and from what it is that you're communicating about, and looking at it, because Mercury, when Mercury is in Aries, Mercury in Aries is a very it can be sharp and intense and like very outspoken, and sometimes it can come off as aggressive or blunt, and so though that kind of communication can also come up within some dynamics, and there could be a need of just taking that detached approach and looking at it and saying, and communicating. And it can even be you being hard on yourself, having harsh thoughts, having harsh things about your relationships or your goods or your money or things like that, and needing to bring a balance, because things can feel confusing and they can feel unstable. And so it's okay. Relax. We're going to be okay. Don't make any sudden decisions. We're moving up into Mercury retrograde. We're currently in Mercury shadow. So that Mercury placement in Aries is also slowing down, and it can seem harsh to your emotions. And so that's why you want to take that detached approach and look at it for what it is and balance it. Put in that love energy. We do have this Mars-Saturn conjunction buildup that's fueling the next eclipse. And so, and we're moving forward with that, and again, in the next 2 weeks. Okay, so we have Wednesday, March 27th, and on this day at 5:02 a.m. we have the moon going into Scorpio, and it's going to, within a few degrees of entering Scorpio, it's going to square Pluto in Aquarius. And so the moon in Scorpio is in its detriment, and the moon in Scorpio is our emotions and how we're feeling, and it doesn't like to be in Scorpio. It can feel heavy and intense and overly burdened, and it can think a lot and try to get to the bottom of its emotions. And when there's a square to Pluto, which is the ruler of Scorpio, there could be a need to transform those darker emotions that are, you know, intense. There's a need for some kind of letting go or transformation of your fears, because it's also a power angle. There could be maybe some intense emotions or things that came up within friendships, and the need to transform that, or social groups that affect your emotions, or money and how you want to move forward. Money, your partner's money. It could have to do with taxes and a need to liberate yourself or move forward or transform a fear that's there. And you know, with the moon being in Scorpio too, there could be from this eclipse energy that's still that bodily, not sure where you're going, but that feeling heavy, and you know, a need to be facing the fears. But here's the nice thing, is that by 12:18 p.m., and this is Eastern, we have the moon trining Mars. And that's another, like, if it's a ruler, it's co-ruler, they both rule Scorpio. And so even though there's that need to, you know, you could be feeling heavy, you could be feeling these emotions, there's that need to transform those emotions and have an acceptance as to where it is that you're going, because the moon immediately goes into a trine to Mars, which is in Pisces, so that's another water sign. And it's like, okay, hold on, this is what we have going on. It might feel a little not so great. Our intuition might feel a little destabilized about where we're going, but it's about emotional, you know, understanding and acceptance and compassion of your situation, and connecting with yourself spiritually, because it's in Pisces, in regards to like where your path is ahead, because Mars wants to move forward, and the moon and the emotions. So you're accepting where you're moving forward to, and you're just allowing your emotions to balance out some. And even if the path is unclear, because it's going to be like that a little bit right now in this energy. So Thursday, March 28th, we have the moon still in Scorpio. It's still in a trine to Mars, and it trines Saturn, and actually it trines Saturn the day before, and so that also brings that stability in your emotions as to where it is that you're going forward to, and it helps bring acceptance. You know, okay, well, this is what's going on. How can you be responsible with this? How can you stabilize this? Like, how can you move forward and bring stability to where those blurred lines are, and to be able to see your path and your emotions and that stability and where you're going and when you're moving forward, and accepting that and being responsible about accepting it. And then we have so Thursday, March 28th, we have the moon still in Scorpio the whole day. It's, like I said, in a trine to Mars. It's opposing Jupiter. It's opposing Uranus and Taurus, and then it's trining Venus by the end of the day. So, you know, there can be an expansion on your emotions that have to do with your values and where you're going. So again, it's because it's in Taurus. It's things about money, it's things about your stability, it's things about your property and your emotions. That's expanding on your spiritual values. And when it goes through that, and it can bring some kind of optimism too to those values, even if it's in opposition. Even if they're not seeing things clearly, it's still hitting Jupiter. So it's still, there's something good that's going to come from it. And then it goes into its opposition with Uranus, which is about letting go of something, releasing those emotions, allowing yourself to let go of those attachments to values or things that aren't serving you anymore. And then it moves into a trine to Venus, which Venus rules Jupiter, Venus rules Taurus, and so there's but we'll be okay, we'll figure it out. You know, those emotions are in that feeling of like, we'll be okay, it might not feel great, but we'll figure it out. We're going to balance out the money. It's Friday night, let's enjoy ourselves, let's have a good time. Venus is exalted, and let's just excuse me, it's Thursday night, and but it's exalted and it's moving, it's feeling better, like you're feeling better about where you're moving to. And then by Friday, March 29th, we have the moon still early in the morning, making a trine to, the moon is still in Scorpio. It's making a trine to Neptune. So, you know, there's that nice Venus energy throughout the night before. Maybe you just enjoyed yourself and had a good, you know, a good dinner, or good, you know, just good Venusian things. Maybe you went and had a nice bath and you cleansed yourself, right? And then you have nice dreams throughout the night, even if they can be a little bit intense or deep dreams. You can have dreams that, even around the eclipse in general, like you can have dreams that are telling you things about that you need to know. And so the moon trining Neptune is sensitive yet blurred lines. It's rose-colored glasses, but it's trining, so it's good. Like your dreams and your outlook might not be clear, but you're seeing where you're going. And don't lie to yourself about where you're going, you know, because it can be a little bit of that, like, oh, lying to yourself, or laziness. Like it can turn into emotional laziness, and or maybe you just want to, you know, to me, like, I think maybe if your emotions are high and you're feeling good, maybe you're just smoking some weed or something, doing something to make yourself feel better. Go into a kava kratom bar or lunch or something. And then you have the void of course moon for 4 hours. So during the void of course moon, of course, important task you must avoid. You don't want to do anything that has to do with like signing contracts or making important decisions. Going to get psychic readings because the moon's offline. And then it moves into the moon that afternoon, moves into Sagittarius, where it becomes more fun-loving. The emotions are not so deep and so heavy. They're more optimistic about where they're going. They're adventurous. They're, you know, far-reaching. And so the thing with this is it's going to make that nice sextile to Pluto in Aquarius in that by the afternoon, later in the afternoon, Friday night. And so there could be like this empowered feeling of transformation about where you're going, what direction you're taking. It's a builder's angle. There could be like a healing to your emotional, like your mental health or your subconscious thoughts that may have been limiting that you faced during the moon being in Scorpio. And so you're starting to feel like that limitness, that facing your fear. Okay, I can take this adventure and I can trust my emotions. Even if it might seem scary, or you could have an invitation to maybe go out with friends and enjoy the night and just transform your energy after that rough week. Okay, so then Saturday, March 30th, we do have the moon coming into, it's at 2:43 a.m. Eastern. It's coming into a square with Mars, and this could be like after your emotions are feeling free, maybe you went out, you had a great time. There is something that comes in that's like you have a desire to move forward with what you need to do, but there's things that you still need to face. You need to slow down and like look around and see what you need to do still. Like, yeah, your emotions are feeling freer and you're moving forward, but there's that need to like, what direction is it that you're taking? What drive is it? Like where you're moving forward to, like even whether it's spiritually, like your spiritual growth, or maybe something that comes in and like throws a wrench in the pile and suddenly, you know, makes you feel like, you know, I'm moving too fast. Where can I slow down and look around? And so like we have and I'm just looking at my glyphs when I look down here. I've got glyphs and a couple of notes written, but they're just basically these little things. Anyhow, okay, so 11:44 a.m. we have the moon making a trine to the sun, and so our emotions and our soul's desire of the path that we're taking and we're moving ahead with we're feeling good about that. Like we're feeling good about that direction. It's just stop, look around, reassess what is it that we need to do to move forward and not get too ahead of ourselves. Take responsible action, because Saturn is also there and the moon's also going to make a square to Saturn. And so it's like taking responsible action with our emotions as we move forward, because the moon is also going to trine the north node. So we're excited about the direction we can see we're heading towards. Even if it seems scary, our soul purpose is feeling balanced and excited for the new adventure. We're just having to take a moment to have a realization of, okay, well, I can't necessarily move right now, and I can't necessarily do this right now, but I can look at what I've got and I can take responsible action without, you know, doing something, because they're Neptunes and Pisces dispositors. They're in those signs, and so it's like blurred lines. It's like that adventure, that desire to move forward, but that need to also bring structure and responsibility into whatever adventure it is that you're getting ready to go on, because it can seem scary with that trine to the north node, but you're excited about the direction it's taking, and even if you don't see it clearly yet, it's there and you're moving forward towards it. Then we have Sunday, March 31st, which is Easter, and there's a lot of people who are spending time with family on this day. So on this day, we have the moon still in the optimistic, adventure, fun-loving, free-loving, seeing things in a long direction, putting those arrows out and setting those goals direction. It's making a trine to Chiron, which means that there's something about where we're heading to that has to do with healing those. There's that healing coming through again. We're getting a lot of this Chiron energy this month. We're getting a lot of that we're feeling optimistic about healing our childhood wounds, or where we're going in that direction. And it's going to square Venus, and it's going to trine Mercury, and it's going to square Neptune. And so on this day, we could have, Venus and square to the moon is like your freedom, your desire for freedom, your movement for forward, like your emotions and their desire for those things. And something about money or a responsibility that needs to come in regards to money, pleasures, like pleasures are not aligned. Maybe you go to a relative's house and it's just not maybe there's like an awkwardness or something weird, or maybe there was, maybe something doesn't taste good in the food, or because it's pleasures, it's pleasures that are not aligned with the direction that your emotions are taking. And but the thing is, you can also have, like, the moon is going to trine Mercury, so there's communication about those things, even if it's harsh communication. There's something that comes in, and it's also, there's easy flow to it. So there's easy flow about communication, about the direction that you're taking, even if it's fast and it's like Mercury's still in that retrograde slow down. So, communication about the direction that you're taking, that's balancing out your emotions. And also on this day, there could be a feeling of, well, listen, the moon makes a square to Neptune. So that's about your emotions and reality versus not reality, and looking at where that direction is taking you. And that's what this day is about. You know, there's a need. It could also be like a realization, oh, well, I have to do all this stuff today. It's Easter, you know, I have to be responsible. There was money that needed to be spent. Maybe I didn't have all the money or the resources that I needed. I'm seeing family, so maybe there's something about some childhood wounds that are faced or triggered that come up that can need healing and communication about. And there's a lot of things going on with children that day and taking them out on adventures. And then coming that afternoon, realizing that you've got a ton of stuff to get done, or to, you know, you can either just face reality and get it done, or you can just enjoy your day and realize that it'll solve itself at some time. You know, it'll get itself done. So that is the astrology for March 25th, eclipse week, through the 31st. Thank you for listening to my forecast. I hope that you found it helpful, and please like and subscribe to get and receive more content like this. Thank you, and be well.